We've talked on the YouTube channel about Rage and this franchise, guys, from past, present, to what we could see in the future. And I believe that Rage is one of those titles that is on the cusp of being something absolutely huge. And we've talked about it, and I've talked a lot about Rage on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that content here, but I gotta say, look, Rage 3 is a title that I do think needs to happen. It's been one that has been discussed quite a bit in forums and, of course, on Reddit, and even over, of course, the studio director over for Rage 2, and the talks of Rage 3 are really ramping up now, and it's something that's very exciting. I want to talk about it with all of you guys, the possibilities and what this could mean for the future of Rage. So let's talk about it, and like I said, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. An article written by Jasmine Henry of Game Rant, Rage 2 studio director Tim Willits reveals that he would like to make Rage 3 as soon as possible, also sharing some strange ideas that were nearly in the game. Now, Rage 2 has not been available. Obviously, guys, this article was written a couple of years ago, and here's the thing. He stated, this being Tim Willits, that he is now planning the sequel. Willits also says that he and the Rage 2 development team want to get to work on a sequel as soon as possible. Now, what's interesting, though, about this, guys, is that the game had only come out a number of days later, and until Tim Willits actually stated this. So it was almost like they were already moving on from Rage 2, which is a big red flag in my personal opinion. You gotta be focused on your main game. Obviously, you can have those dreams and aspirations of the future, but if you're already looking to the future and you're not focused on the present, that could be a problem. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter about the release of Rage 2, Willits said, "I hope so," when asked if more games in the Rage series could be released, calling the Rage franchise a fun setting where the development team can do what we want. Willits also revealed that developers once had a serious conversation about allowing players to ride on giant cockroaches. "It's a crazy, fun, exciting franchise, and I hope we can make a third one as soon as possible," said the developer. Now, I got to say that Rage is a very underrated title. I really liked Rage. Rage 2 I enjoyed as well, but there was so much, in my opinion, I've stated this, I'm in previous videos, guys, where it's like on the cusp. It's like right there, but the problem with it is that you can see that there's certain areas of the map and the places that you're exploring that are pretty bare bones. And I understand it's like a wasteland, but there needs to be more side missions. I think the campaign needs to be longer, especially the fact of the matter that this could be a very good multiplayer and co-op experience, and you have no multiplayer. I've always stated that AAA titles should have full packages. Campaign, multiplayer, and co-op modes. Rage should absolutely have multiplayer. If anything I hope for with Rage 3 is a Rage multiplayer experience. Sure, I want the campaign. Sure, I want co-op modes. Give us multiplayer, though. The customization, playing against other people, and PvP elements, PvE elements would be absolutely great. I think it would really help grow the franchise in a major way. Now, whether Rage 2 will get a sequel will be down to the game's success. Many Rage 2 reviews seem to be mixed on the game, saying that while it is action-packed and is fun to play, it also lacks in some areas. A weak story and a boring open world to explore are two areas that critics have called out, and I 100% agree with that. It's a pretty boring open world overall. There's not, the story itself is, I think the story is actually better than the open world aspect of it is. But like I said, guys, you got to have multiple ways that you can connect with this franchise, especially people who are coming into the Rage universe and into the Rage, fan base, playing these games. They've finished playing Rage 2, and then they're going to move on to other games instead of staying with that game because there's no multiplayer, there's no co-op. So I really want to see that happen. The game has also been discounted on all platforms. While this doesn't always mean that a game is selling poorly, it would be strange to discount a game that is selling incredibly well. Publisher Bethesda will be looking at the game's sales figures before it greenlights Rage 3. If Bethesda was to give ID Software and Avalanche Studios the go ahead to make a Rage 2 sequel, then it's unclear when the team would be able to begin developing it. Willits and the rest of the developers may want to get started on the game as soon as possible, but their resources may not allow them to start development on a new game. And here's the other thing. Bethesda being bought out by none other than Xbox and Microsoft means that Rage is now in the hands of Xbox. Means it could be a console exclusive. Maybe they want to make a Rage Online specific, kind of like Elder Scrolls Online. They make a Rage Online and it's all multiplayer and such. And then of course you can add, a Rage 3 story and things of that nature. I just really want to have more in this world to do. That's just my personal opinion, guys. ID Software is also working on Doom Eternal. Obviously, guys, with Doom Eternal, very popular. Avalanche Studios' next game hasn't been announced, but it isn't known if the developer would start on Rage 3 without ID Software. The post-launch plans for Rage 2 will also take up many resources. Rage 2 will have world events as well as new content such as weapon skins, more cheat codes, and wasteland challenges, and these will all be released to players for free. There are also plans for premium paid story expansions. All of these mean that fans will likely be waiting years for Rage 3 to be released. And seeing as how, guys, that this is a title that came out a couple of years ago, we're already kind of looking to the future of Rage, obviously. Now, this is a article that's coming to us from Nitish Singh of Gamers Suffice. Rage 2 is just released, but the developers are ready to start production on Rage 3 ASAP. The Rage franchise started way back in 2011 when ID Software rolled out the first iteration of the first-person shooter set on an apocalyptic backdrop. As soon as it came out, critics and gamers drew parallels with games like Fallout 3 and Borderlands, which is okay because Fallout 3, of course, is owned by none other than Bethesda as well. However, it did win a couple awards for its graphics and gunplay, and over the years has earned a fan base as well. Now, in May of 2019, the series got its second title with Rage 2, co-developed by Avalanche Studios, and even though it's only been a couple of months, we are already hearing rumors about a possible third installment. Just a few days after Rage 2 had been officially released to the public, Tim Willits, like we said, had already was heard showing interest in a sequel. During his interview, Willits stated how the Rage franchise gave the developers a fun setting where they can try out new ideas and do what they want. Whatever be the case, one thing's for sure, that it's going to take a couple of years before we get to hear any news on Rage 3. Currently, ID Software is busy with their upcoming Doom Eternal, which we already know, guys. This was, of course, an article written back in 2020, so a little bit more recent. Rage 2 is far more colorful sequel to the gray-brown Rage 1. This has been supposedly done to create a distinct environment that separates itself from the Fallout series. The creators have also shown interest in creating something fun and thrilling. We also have rumors about the developers having a serious discussion about introducing giant cockroaches that players can ride. Which, to me, guys, is ridiculous. They should, obviously that's like something that might just be, something kind of meme-ish that they're doing. But I do think that they need to be talking about multiplayer. They need to be talking about other ways to kind of continue evolving the franchise. All this does is give an idea of the direction where the next part of the series might be heading. However, as stated earlier, there is still a long time before development on the new game starts, and it might be great if they give some attention to what the gamers have to say, and I agree 100% with that. So let's talk about it. Rage 2, guys, in my opinion, had a ton of promise. The problem was that it's a single-player story. There's no multiplayer elements, and that's the biggest issue in my opinion. Also, you've got no open, the open world setting is pretty, honestly, there's just not a lot to do in it. The story itself, I think the story is okay. I actually like the story a little bit more in Rage 2 than Rage 1, but the open world is just not very good, and it feels very bare bones. And, maybe that's what the developers were going for. What does that mean for Rage 3? Well, obviously, guys, I want to see a Rage 3 happen. And it comes down to us as a community. We got to voice and really give Rage 3 a voice and kind of get the developers to create this next title. Do I think it's something that is going to come down the pipeline? I do, guys. I really do. Obviously, ID Software, though, working on Doom, and that game already coming out and doing very well, there's a good chance that Bethesda may say, and Xbox now, because they own, Bethesda, they might say, look, let's greenlight another Doom title immediately. We'll put Rage on the back burner right now. I hope that doesn't happen, but when you think about Doom, at least that has a full package, right? It's got the single-player story. It's got the multiplayer. It's got the ways in which you can connect with the game after you're done playing the campaign. Rage does not right now, and that's something that needs to change as soon as possible. And I'm really hoping for the future of this franchise, guys. What we know is that they really want to make a Rage 3. And what that could be, well, they're talking about riding on cockroaches and things of that nature. That's all, fine and dandy, but I think there's other things that really need to be put into the fray here and in Rage 3 that are going to really evolve the franchise moving forward to continue really building upon the franchise and the fan base especially. You get all these fans that come into the game and then they just move on to other games after they're done playing the campaign. You want to have multiple ways you can connect with the franchise outside of just the single player story. You want to have multiple ways. Let's have a real conversation about it in the comment section down below, guys. And for more Rage 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.